it wasn't easy, there was quite a lot of contention over like this person or that person, or
Uh-huh.
make some hard choices.
Okay, thank you so much for joining me. It's such a great pleasure to meet you after Venice Immersive 2024 this year, which Impulse won the Best Achievement Award. And again, congratulations. How have you been doing?
It's fine. I mean, yeah, we're grand. We're in a different phase now for Impulse, which is, touring and taking it around and we're doing kind of some language kind of updates as well.
Oh, yeah.
We've done Mandarin and Spanish, Espanol, and now we're hopefully going to be pushing out the French version in
Oh,
May, I think. It's coming up anyway.
and maybe in Turkish. I hope.
I mean that,
Fingers-
yeah, that would be great. We're kind of we're yeah we've kind of we're working on it, so it should be a lot easier to kind of basically localize
Yeah.
the project.
Great news. So,
Yeah.
Impulse is a singular XR/MR experience that invites the audience to take a closer look and feel into the brains and hearts of four people diagnosed with ADHD, which is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. And Impulse has been supported by MetaVR for Good, France Television's CNC, Agox, T of Paris, and Unity Charitable Fund, a fund of Thais Foundation. Impulse was presented at 2023 Venice Gap Financing Market and Tribeca Creators Market. Can you tell us a bit about your personal experience with Impulse at the Venice International Film Festival on Venice Immersive 2024 program?
Oh, what it was like at Venice,
Yeah,
or
like
is
what was
yeah,
because
I
the
mean,
festival is so this year, I mean last year it was very vital and it was very big.
yeah, it's
How
growing and
was it
growing
for
every
you?
year. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it's really great to see that it's kind of ever increasing and a lot more stuff coming in. And yeah, I think I've been to Venice quite a few times now, so and every year it seems to get better, which is promising. And yeah, like I thought, yeah, it was good. We just had a child, so I didn't get to see
Oh
much
yeah.
except just checking in on how the show was running and stuff. So but yeah, I was like that place,
But
you know.
you didn't have any chance to experience any other projects,
I
maybe.
had very little on the ground time
Oh,
at
you
the
at least
festival.
lucky.
Yeah,
I didn't experience anything. Like
yeah.
I experienced Impulse at home.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I
Not
mean,
in Venice.
it was very busy, and I saw a couple of things, but I wasn't there on the in the kind of watching mode.
Yeah. And for those unfamiliar with the experience, like, can you give us an overview of Impulse playing with reality? And what is the primary message you hope to convey through the serial experience?
Um, I think that well, with the series itself, like I think kind of started with Goliath, and we kind of found like a kind of a nice, interesting area to kind of like explore, and it's kind of like how our kind of perception and how our brain works, and how kind of some sections of the brain and how they deal with like our kind of sense of reality, and so we're kind of that's where we're exploring that more because it was it's so fascinating, and it's also really fresh as well. Like people are discovering new things about how we think all the time, and it's with AI and stuff like that, it's kind of accelerating how we can kind of learn about ourselves. So yeah, so we're kind of that's what we're focusing around, and I guess Anagram has always had a kind of like social kind of, documentary kind of like we're always kind of interested in real people's stories and real lives, and myself and May both were documentary filmmakers, like as well as like everything else. But so the kind of social aspect, the way that like kind of people are affected by, their kind of their perceptions of reality and all of that kind of has always been kind of interesting to us. So yeah, so that's why what we're doing. We're kind of just going along and seeing what we can find out, seeing what stories we can tell.
Yeah. And you collaborated with neuroscientists and psychologists, conducting over 100 hours of interviews. ADHD presents differently across all individuals, and encompassing a wide spectrum of behaviors and experiences. And what were the kind of primary challenges you faced in authentically representing this diversity within the project?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it like I think that I remember at the very beginning we were like just discussing about, keeping it to one person's story, and our primary kind of like source of like, kind of more or less like one of the doctors that we talked to the most, Edmund, kind of like was so insistent that we can't possibly tell one person's story. You
Mm,
have to tell like more. And so that kind of like made us, really um expand the pool, widen the pool, and like, find as many kind of we had a second researcher to kind of find like locate people that were willing to talk to us and tell their stories, so um I guess what happened was like, we just, the in a way the project just became kind of in itself like ADHD. It just, it just like, there was so many possibilities, so many angles, so many different things to talk to and talk about, and the more you looked, there was more to see, and
yeah.
so it seemed like, but I think that actually the kind of core way is kind of just the interviews, is to kind of like when we finally narrowed down like the character, the people that we were gonna like stories we were gonna tell, like from like 75 to 12, down to
Oh, wow.
4. It kind of by that point, you've listened to kind of like many hours of people's stories. So, you kind of you start to kind of like get like an idea of like where like, you know, what parts of their story might be kind of like compelling to other people. And so yeah, I guess, and then, it's just like sitting and listening and kind of listening to the content over
Yeah.
and over. Like everything we do starts from like the recordings, the people themselves. They're the kind of like the beginning. We might have tons of ideas like about stuff, but actually if it's not coming from them, or if it's not like, yeah, if they're not the starting point for it, it doesn't really ring true. So yeah, that's why
Yeah.
we
Also, it's not our typical kind of VR experience, or like this is an MR project, like what we call mixed reality. This is
yeah.
XR, actually, what we call
Mm,
extended reality. So
yeah.
you're able to, on the same time, you're able to make that experience at your own place. Like I'm at the studio. If I start this experience,
Mm,
my surroundings, my environment is that studio. So I'm going
yeah.
through that experience with that. So
Yeah.
could you discuss a little bit about the design choices
Yeah. I
that
mean,
blend real world and environments with virtual
yeah.
elements?
I think that like, the I guess the Quest 2 had a kind of overlay, like the kind of black and white overlay, and so there was like kind of like um I guess maybe it's more of how do I want to frame it? Like around the technology was just kind of, mature to kind of have like this kind of ability to kind of, the game engine with the real and I think that initially, I was thinking like collage, I thought like I didn't want to try
Mm.
to the technology kind of in order for stuff to really sit in the room like real reality or whatever, it requires, the lighting and all of, quite kind heavy computation that, just isn't really there in things. So like, we kind of just segued completely away and I wanted a clash. I wanted like not a clash, but a contrast,
Oh
So kind
yeah.
of thinking of collage rather than trying to make stuff just fit aesthetically, like,
Yeah.
but so from the very beginning we were trying to go against, what you would think you might want to put in, how you might
Mhm.
want to look from a kind of uh, you know, uh a unified kind of like aesthetic or something. But so yeah, like collage, I think was the first kind of starting point. And so that was really the choice, and also there was some kind of like ideas from, Goliath was that like, in the way like we didn't kind of want to portray a character in the kind of, the Disneyfied aesthetic or,
Mm.
like where the characters have really defined personalities and because in the way that like you kind of make these kind of judgment calls about that character just by looking at their kind of like their style or whatever. So we kind of tried to keep the characters in a way a little bit mysterious, a little bit,
Yeah.
broken up, like trying to show their internal kind of like elements rather than their kind of external facade. And so they're kind of very much like avatars.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, Lian, like, because I think I kind of, as a neurodiverse person, I kind of compared or kind of found myself with all of the characters. And they all represent some part of my brain, actually.
Mm.
So, but especially Lian was
Mm.
something like I was, I feel seen.
Oh,
Like
right. Okay. Yeah.
this
Leanne
is
is
so
great.
me.
Yeah.
Like that
Mm.
that state of mind, that being some kind of an adrenaline junkie, but actually this
Mm.
is something different. Like this is not being adrenaline junkie, but this is some kind of a way of dealing with your mind and your body, and
Yeah.
this is very complex. So on that four individuals, the project delves into the lives of four individuals: Leanne, Omar, Errol, and Tara, like each with unique experiences related to ADHD. And how did you select these stories, and what was your
Oh, well,
approach?
like, just referring back to that, like we had a large pool of like people to talk to and we kind of the more we listened to it, the more the personalities of the people became real, to us. And I think that we wanted to uh like it was always the intent at the beginning to kind of show an extreme side, of this condition. And so in a way the just I guess just the way that the characters themselves, the people themselves talked, like
Mm.
um the it, in a way they kind of like they summoned imagery, they're kind of like poetically kind of speaking and uh there's just like yeah it's not it wasn't easy, there was quite a lot of contention over like one like this person or that person or so it went backward, it was quite a lot of discussion, but in a way they just became, they bubbled up to the surface. We had to kind of make some hard choices, definitely. But and and we wish we could have told everyone's, but that would have been crazy,
Oh
because
wow, yeah.
I mean, telling one person's story is hard. Telling four people's is four times as hard,
Oh
I
yeah.
think.
But in the way you design, it was like you're seeing as a whole piece, actually. Like, is is you represent the whole individuals, like in a very individualistic way. We see the stories.
Mm,
I see myself in all the stories, and
mm,
it's kind of like makes me feel complete again. Like it's very related with me in all parts. All of them are very related with me. So also we have the narrator as Tilda Swinton, and having Tilda Swinton as a narrator adds a unique dimension to the project, I
mm.
think. And in what ways do you think her distinctive voice and delivery, the story, influenced the audience's perception and emotional connection to the stories?
Cool, calm, collected. It plans ahead. Precise, but slow. Useless at sports. Every instant, decisions must be made. It's a chore or a game.
Yeah, I think that the Tilda like Echo character is kind of evolving in a way through from Goliath. It was kind of she was um very much a guide, and I think that in Impulse we kind of wanted we kind of brought her more like she's I guess she's a guide again, but I think there's just something quite with Tilda and her voice and the power that she commands with that voice, I
Mhm.
guess. You really listen.
Oh yeah.
There's just a strange energy to it, and it's also like there's I don't know if she's good fun or if she's like with you or against you in a way. There's
Oh
something
yeah.
quite kind of
Yes, this is a very important point about, I think, her. Like you don't know if you can trust or not.
yeah, exactly. Like the idea is that like Echo's some extraterrestrial being, that
Maybe,
like
maybe this
tunes
is
into your
why.
kind of like brain
Maybe you
frequencies.
know what? Like this is a very good point. I got very excited because now I can explain this by by your explanation because you don't know if you can trust her or not, and when you're playing the game in the beginning, you don't because this is a game that actually you cannot win, but you don't know. You don't
Yeah,
know
yeah,
for the
and
first
yeah,
time.
and there's probably I guess you're being cajoled into it, and then at the end, yeah, you are being deceived, I
Yes,
guess. But
like
uh,
you're in the void and you don't know like what works or not, and you're just going with it. But and also like Impulse has that ending that ties back to its beginning. And can you tell us about the narrative choice?
I think that like the narrative kind of evolved from the structure evolved from the people's like stories, it's from all of our interviews, like certain kind of realizations kind of came to us that you know um all of the people that we picked were kind of at a stage of their life where they were looking back at their previous selves from a position of diagnosis, and
Mm.
so we kind of had like that was kind of central to the whole like structure. The diagnosis moment is kind of very smack bang in the center, and before that, the characters are like bringing you up to speed with like how their lives were and what happened to them, and the crazy situations they found themselves in, and so and then after the diagnosis phase, there's a kind of like a I guess a reflection and a kind of like and where they are now, it's kind of
Oh
like it's
yeah.
pretty similar to Goliath as well. Like they're like, you kind of want to like bring people up to speed with where the characters are at this moment in their lives,
Oh yeah.
and so it's kind of it's just pretty much that's the kind of arc really, their kind of childhood, their youth, then a moment of kind of crisis, and then there's the diagnosis, and then they kind of can make sense of themselves better. Do you know that way? Like they can
Yeah.
see, they can make stuff. blaming themselves or like, trying out kind of like,
Yeah.
treatments and so they kind of there's a bit of a kind of like a reflection time
Yeah.
basically. So
It,
that's kind of the arc.
Also, is there a particular scene or story like that you kind of feel is the most impactful or challenging to create? Like,
I mean, the hardest part was actually the end thing, and it was really around kind of the seriousness of like, Tara and her like admission that she, the first year she wasn't gonna kill herself, you know what I mean? Like, and it's kind of stuff like that when you're kind of trying to work with that kind of content, you really want it to land right and not to feel like you're exploiting it or, so working like the end scene was the hardest part. And it's also like the end was it was going to be entirely different. We had to segue to a kind of different ending. It was going to be actually a game at the end, but in the sense the the deadlines and the kind of
oh, yeah.
but we might
Because also you have that schedule and the pipeline is
yeah
important.
yeah no yeah you have to. There's a point when you have to finish,
Oh, yeah.
and
Because
and so
otherwise you can go forever with the project and
well, it feels like you're going forever when you're making it anyway, but yeah, so the most difficult part was the end because of the nature of what we're trying to get across, and I don't know if
oh,
we successfully got there. I still
you
can't
don't
tell.
know? Like again, like I mean, I know you since Goliath, but again, it was another kind of project that I can finally see myself and feel something and kind of feeling some kind of not only immersing but also feeling some kind of evolvement on my journey through this project. So it's yeah, like it's a very one of those projects that is very important for me that helped me through some things with my mind and journey. So it's like staying on my heart forever, like Goliath did. And yeah, but and before we wrap up, like what would you like to share with neurodiverse communities, XR communities? I just want to share this experience with, especially with neurodiverse people and communities.
Yeah,
But also like on the XR world, I think it's very important project in the means of
yeah,
creating that all that we talk about, always talk about being inclusive, being
yeah. I
diverse,
think.
and
Oh
social
yeah,
impact. So in that sense, it it holds a great space for us. It's
yeah.
literally holding space for us, neurodiverse people.
Yeah, no, totally. But like, I think technology and, specifically new technologies and, like, I guess, I don't know if it's true or you can make these kind of sweeping things, but like, I think that the neurodiverse community embrace like kind of new paradigms of everything, communication. And so I think that that's quite commendable and, the avant-garde. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
like it's also because it's also very playful. It's because I mean, it's very helpful to go through that kind of immersive experience with all the elements,
yeah.
very playful elements. So, like even in the very beginning, that like you're seeing your void. You can't you realize I realize that yes, I'm constantly living with that void and trying to pick up things and make a match, and it's kind of like it's always like a game on my head. My mind is always
Yeah.
kind
No, I
of in that
guess, yeah.
void.
Yeah, like I think that the way that you imagine or, maybe a lot of people, you know, like mixed reality could be a good like analogy to how some people experience their own reality, without a headset, with their imagination and, that's what's cool about it. It's kind of like a mirror of your mind.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Like this is why we have mixed reality, because for
mm,
some people like me, we are already living in a mixed reality world.
Safe in Our World is a mental health charity dedicated to supporting the video games industry and community. They have lots of information and support for mental health available on their website and can work directly with game companies through their free Level Up Mental Health program. To find out more, visit safeinourworld.org or follow hashtag SafeInOurWorld on all social media platforms.
yeah, has to
So
get easier to make.
yeah, I mean, artificial intelligence is right now kind of helpful, but I hope it gets easier and easier. So we
Wow,
can
yeah.
see more from Anagram. It's very important. Like, thank you so much for making this immensely great,
Oh, thank
powerful,
you.
so impactful project, like bringing them to us and always trailblazing the way. I cannot thank you enough, but
Oh,
Barry, and also, of course, co-creator May,
May, well, the whole team, like there's a lot of people, need a lot of people to kind of
like the whole team. I'm so forever thankful to all of you for that series and making that such an important, impactful projects that show us ourselves. And
oh, cool.
yeah, like, would you like to add something? Like, what's your next
Uh,
step? Like, what are you cooking now?
well, we're kind of just we're kind of doing research and stuff for like the kind of the following, but also yeah, just doing the kind of trying to keep the project in the air and moving and kind of touring and stuff, and yeah, and then just doing the research for I think the next one will be on body dysmorphia, like
Oh yeah,
dysmorphia, like it's called amorphous working title, and it's going to be kind of much more fun, basically. Uh,
great.
yeah, I think so. It's going to be very physical and
I think
uh,
it is showed as a demo on one of the, was that in festival or
oh well, there was like there was a at IDFA there was some kind of workshops, but they were just kind of very absurd workshops about movement
oh,
and
workshops. Okay,
body
I saw
perception.
workshops and I listened
Yeah,
from May about the workshops.
yeah.
People are pulling themselves or like
Yeah,
testing
yeah,
that
like it was
directions.
just how does your body move kind of thing. It's quite funny.
It's great.
Uh,
It's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm just looking forward to it. Like that would be amazing.
Yeah, like yeah,
So
it's gonna be fun.
yeah, I
Maybe
mean
more
that's
gamey, yeah.
okay. I mean, I'm so looking forward to your next project. Like, and I'm just waiting. Maybe, hopefully, someday Impulse will be in Turkish too. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we'll
I
get you to do the translation. Do
I
it.
can
We've
do it.
we've
Don't
tested
worry.
it works.
Like, I would do it happily.
Yeah, no, it should
Um,
be, it should be.
because it makes a lot of difference. I think that
Mm,
the language barrier is also one of
yeah.
those things always hanging up there. But yeah, like I would really like to see that experience in Turkish too.
Cool.
Um, but that was great. Such a great opportunity to meet you and
Well,
talk
thanks, man.
about Impulse. Thank you so much, Bay. Thank you so
Okay.
much.